Hi, everyone, and welcome to A Voice for the Voiceless. My name is Celine, and I'm here to share my experience with my daughter that is autistic, nonverbal, now 21 years old. I don't know where the time flew by, but I wanted to make a safe space where we can either other parents with autism, in the community. I call it a community of this family members with disabilities, autism. I could say a long a long list, but just a place where we can share. Um, know that I am personally here to listen, maybe a little bit of advice. Maybe we can go back and forward and give each other advice. And it just doesn't have to be always, in my case, about autism. But it is the reason why I decided to, you know, do this. I had done a podcast. I think I started 5 years ago, and I did it for like 2 years, and then stopped. And the last 2 years, I've been really trying to do a do-over and also go to bigger platforms, for example, YouTube and podcast. And just I feel that I have a responsibility because my daughter is nonverbal, that I feel that, which fits in with the title, A Voice for the Voiceless, that I've always, in her IEPs or just in everyday life, I've needed to step in and speak for her. Um, I worked for 6 years with adults with disabilities, and I got really um, attached. So if one family was Spanish speaking, I would offer to go and um, be bilingual for them so their child could, or adult. I'm sorry, I see them all as children, maybe because of my child. Like I said, she's 21. Her name is Leah. Um, but I still see her as a 12-year-old. Like, I really, uh, and I thought it would be like a safe place where not only you can come and share, or there's a lot of moms that have reached out to me in different social medias about, you know, what did you do when you first found out? Well, that was like 20 years ago. No, maybe 19 years ago. So it's a lot different than what I've noticed. Some things going on now, which I'm learning. So we could learn together, and I could, we could all be a community of support. And it doesn't have to be just about, our, I call them not struggles, but things we overcome or things that we learn. I would love to start this one by just telling you a little bit about Aaliyah, and I really would love it if we can do this. Uh, Maybe first as, you know, comparing notes, or maybe you have a suggestion that I could use. I'm always open. I'm very open-minded. I've, since I've been doing it for a while, of trying to get her the things to help her with speech mostly, but hasn't been as successful as I would like. But you know, as we keep going, we learn. Well, I would love tell you that she's she is like I feel like and I don't mean this for any religion, but I feel like I I am here for this purpose, which is take care of my daughter, speak for her, and even do this. Speak to other parents or other, you know, I call it a community. Our, you could have a grandmother, and anybody, or even somebody that you know and care about that has, and maybe you would like to understand why do they do this or that, and I can only by my opinion maybe give you a way to deal with it, or maybe some proper information to get if I don't know the answer. I would definitely do that for sure. And then we can branch this out to just talking about something that you feel that maybe somebody just doesn't care about, or you don't feel like sharing, but maybe here you can come and share. There is no judgment. I am open-minded, and I am here to hopefully do what I think is right for my daughter as she lives her life without being able to speak, and all the wonderful years that I've had to be kind of like a mediator of because I spent so much time with her that I know exactly what she needs. But it then I remember in the past sometimes like, wow, we came over that hump. For example, my daughter was diagnosed at 2 years and a half, and we could go on the whole long story beginning if you like, but I just want to tell you a little bit. I remember that the first thing that I noticed after was that she just stared at the wall or didn't do any eye contact after the diagnosis. Before the diagnosis, I thought she was like a good baby that didn't really cry that much at night, just a good baby. We had our son before that, and he was a handful. But and then she came and she was just chill, so that's how we took it at first. And when we got the diagnosis, I do have to share that, of course, I didn't know what it meant, and I wanted to get on it right away and see how we can help her. And I don't know why, and I really, now that I know more, I don't think the professional should have told me, well, maybe when your daughter becomes an adult, she'll be able to garden. And for me and my husband at that time, we're like, we don't even garden. Like, what? She should have said nothing. She should have said, like other people, or like the person that was right next to her, pretty much giving her the "what are you doing, guys?" She should have just said, like how they say, you know, after, like, they don't know where it came from, how it happened. But I do have to admit that for the next 3 years, even though we were following, we sold our home. We moved because it was they couldn't go as far as that, and up to 3 years old they could come to your house and start. They wanted to start, of course, as soon as possible, to like they do with everybody in the spectrum. I believe now it's called the spectrum. Now there's levels to it. It wasn't like that before, but I'm learning and not trying to understand, and it's always a learning thing. But you learn most of the things by your own child. Your own child lets you know what they need and what they don't like, and stuff like that. Um, then let's call it the what to expect things, because as we all know, you don't know what to expect. Every day is either, for Aaliyah, it's a routine, and the routine is long. It is a long process, and I will, if you guys want me to tell you what just putting her to bed will consist of, get ready for at least an hour and a half. Yeah, at least an hour and a half to 2 hours to get her with all her routine. Can't mess up the routine. Can't mess up the routine. The pandemic, my goodness, the pandemic was so hard for her. It was so hard, and as well as it was for me. And also another wonderful little fun stuff. Um, she has a really hard time with insomnia. So if she can't sleep that night, mommy can't sleep that night. And mommy still has to get up. And I'm talking like a little girl, but I'm just trying to, I'm not trying, okay, let's back up a little bit. This is how she is now. We know all children with autism have a routine, and it just, it works, it definitely, it helps them a lot, and it helps us too. But then, um, of course, there's days that you don't know what's coming, or, I could tell you a lot of things, but I wanted really to share the beginning of when I first found out that she was autistic. Um, and as we went, we realized that she was nonverbal also, because she started school at 3, and they did picture exchange. They did a lot of different stuff, and she wasn't speaking. So, well, trust me, Aaliyah is very observant, very smart, and she knows what she's doing. But I found out that later. But when I first found out, I have to admit that not only was it hard, just that we couldn't fix it. We didn't know we were um, getting ourselves not into, but what challenges were gonna come from this. And we were ready, like, okay, so where do we go next? And it was it doesn't work like that, right? So for the next 3 years, Aaliyah, as soon as she would go to sleep, I would get up. I don't even want to look in the camera because I don't want to get emotional. But as I tell you things about and sharing things about my daughter, there is some things that are not emotional in a sad way, emotional as a, like I always put in my Instagram, never underestimate your child. Trust me, never underestimate any of your children, but even the ones you think that yeah, they're really smart. um, so for 3 years, no kidding, no joke. I would come to her little toddler bed crib, and touch her hand or look at her, and cry and cry. Not loud, I was trying to be quiet and beg her and tell her how much I was sorry if I did something that caused her this. I have two children. My son is 2 years older than Aaliyah. Um, I found out I was pregnant. I thought I was too young, but okay. Um, I stopped working. I had a day that I went to work and I had one drop of blood. I went to the emergency room and that's it. I quit my job and stayed um stayed at home and gained 100 pounds because I had no little babies around me or a mother that gave um it was pretty much I was alone in the whole process. Not alone. Um, my husband was started going to school to get in the medical field, so we made a decision. I always wanted to be a police officer. I'm from LA, so back in my LA days. But when we found out we were pregnant, we still wanted to do something that uh, was for people. So we decided on the medical field. So he went and was doing, classes, and I would stay home all day. And I pretty much, did the whole pregnancy thing by myself because it was gone like 12 hours a day. Um, but okay, I thought really, and I know now it's like, gosh, you were young, or you didn't have that one, um, like aunt or I don't know, just somebody to say, or even my doctor, I don't know, to say that you don't have to eat for two, but I thought I was supposed to eat for two, so I would force myself to eat. Yeah. But yeah, now I'm like, mm. Okay, but so I didn't start heavy, but I ended heavy. But 2 years after, got pregnant with our daughter, and I did work while I was pregnant with her. So I blamed that on why maybe she was autistic. I blamed myself for maybe skipping a prenatal vitamin. I blame myself for maybe pushing myself too hard or working until the pretty much the last minute of before I had to, give birth. Besides that they were both past their due dates. They liked it in there way too long. But so I did that for 3 years, and every night, maybe 30 minutes in of me just, crying and apologizing. My husband would come and bring me back to bed and tell me that it's not my fault. And it only took 3 years for me to. I mean, I was going through all the things I needed to do in the daytime, but at night um I would like kind of express it, um the blame. And I don't know if anybody else has ever felt like that. Uh, or maybe I had postpartum. I don't know. I believe I had postpartum with my son. Well, I could probably couldn't have postpartum with my daughter if she was already 2 years, but I didn't get any help with my son because I didn't know how to identify what was postpartum, and I if you guys want to know about that story, we'll make it into a different episode because I don't want to give you too much. I just want to give you an introduction of what we can be talking about, and maybe you can relate to how the news might have got you. Um, there is something that we found out really, really quick that 80% of marriages, couples, parents divorce, separate, probably due to the stress of taking care of a disabled child. And unfortunately, I don't think those numbers have changed. I don't have, I'm not in that 80%, thank God. Um, I don't think I would have done it. Well, yeah, I would have done it, but I definitely have support with with him. But we don't have like family support. Like nobody's ever babysat or um, it's just been me and him. So what we did, uh, we decided to go be in the medical field so we can have careers, and we also decided to work one graveyard and the other person morning shift so we can always be with our children. And yeah, it probably, I didn't feel like it hurt our relationship, but maybe now, what, 25 years later, maybe a little less because we're counting when Aaliyah's 3, so it's like 5, 6, 6 years in. Um, maybe we could have had, I don't know, maybe a date or a date or something, but we were very responsible, and we were just about like taking care of, we said we would only have as many, well, we or he, as many as we could take care of. And so especially with Aaliyah's diagnosis, we decided to, we have a boy, we have a girl, we're good, and just focus on them. We can also talk about how siblings, unfortunately, or maybe not, maybe you have like um, our son, until he was 18 years old, he was very overprotective with his sister. Um, they even slept, even though they have their own room, he would come and sleep with her. And then also I would find out from like the teacher that she would have, because they're 2 years apart, so they would end up in the same, like, junior high, where he was, you know 2 years apart. So that he would come and sit with her at lunch most of the time, and he wouldn't tell me that, but the teacher did, and that made me feel really like um, happy, relieved, and I have to admit, I am a mama bear. And when my son was in high school, he's not in high school anymore. He is 24. Um, he would say that I was a helicopter mom. And at first I thought, well, that's mean. But I guess what it means is that you want to make sure your kids are both doing well, and you not try to get in their business, but just you know l- communicate. And there was a moment after he turned 18 that he I think we weren't cool anymore. You know what I mean? When maybe you get um, different friends, and maybe you want to spend more time with them, and yeah, we weren't cool enough to kick it. So he did his own thing, and then he did now stay in his room more, and that was fine. We respected his decision, and and well, we're glad that he is old enough to understand. Um, he is lately showing signs of jealousy, which is valid, but it's not exactly correct, because if it's two different needs. If he needed, let's say, money for gas, just an example, we could resolve that. If Aaliyah needed to take a shower, I would need to help her. And the reason why is because Aaliyah has a tolerance or does not identify with hot and cold. And unfortunately, we have found out the hard way. You get it nice and warm, and then she moves to place with it. And I've gone into the shower maybe like 8 years ago, and it was cold, and she was in there just taking it, and I wasn't gone very long, maybe to go get a towel and come back, and she turned it, and it was cold. And then there was a different time, that same thing, I was in the bathroom, but I was wiping down, kind of cleaning, and then I saw the steam, and I went and checked on her, and her whole body was red, and it was burning. I had to pull her out. Her body was completely red, and no flinch, no no emotion. Um, uh, these things are not expected, but you do learn to. Now she only likes to take a shower in my bathroom, so she took over that. So she takes a shower, but my lights are like on a timer, and it turns off, so I stay in my room, doing paperwork, bills, all the fun stuff. And I keep coming, so the motion detector can keep the lights on, and also check on her. Um, uh, Besides that, she needs help with her bath and all that. So the job never ends, but I just want to share a little bit about myself. So my name is Celine. I'm 43 years old. I'm a Leo. I'm just kidding. I mean, I am a Leo, but We don't need it. We can find out stuff about ourselves. But I really wanted to just start this. Um, you could call it a project. You could call it a just a call I've been thinking of for 2 years, because I've done a lot of things, you know, in the community, but I thought, why don't I, you know, maybe connect with other parents and just vent, or just uh, just vent, or talk about any other thing. Like I said, if you just want to talk about something you don't really think somebody really cares to hear, but you have something to say, come over here. I will definitely listen, and maybe we can figure something out, or maybe we can see it from a different point of view, or maybe we could just, you know, become our own little community of support. That's basically, I think we could reach a lot of people. And I know of throughout the last almost 20 years, I've met so many parents or moms that have talked to me about how I make it seem so easy. Not true. um, Nothing is easy, but I do want to end this this um, episode by saying the biggest thing I've learned from my daughter, and I you know, this is definitely for autism awareness, as well as I'll be learning as you guys share more and more and more, because we know that there's A through Z of type of disabilities, even things that can make us anxious. I live with anxiety when my daughter is not around. When she's in school, I have anxiety. I've stayed up many, many, many nights, um, worried about everything you can think of. Let me just say, just by her being a female and a nonverbal, and in the public, where 1 second she could be there, 1 second she, you know, I'm sure a lot of moms and dads um, have possibly the same fears, or it's crossed your mind. But with Aaliyah, I've definitely learned, like I always was a very, um, I let, I let things slide. Things slide. Always had a smile on my face regardless of what was going on. I had to pay a bill. Always had a very calm energy about myself. Nothing could faze me. Nothing could like get me upset. I really rolled everything off my shoulders and just got things done, you know? Um, but with Aaliyah, I learned a whole new level of strength and patience. And um, I don't think, I mean, I knew I was patient, but then your child, because she needs it, because of this, you learn this whole other patience that you thought you never um, were aware of. Basically, you weren't aware that you had so much more strength than, you know, what you were used to. And the second thing that I want to share that is huge, at least in my eyes, Well, there's so many. We could go one, two, three. We could knock them off. Of at least five things that amaze me of her. But the second thing that I also learned from her, and this was about 10 years ago. I'm not saying that I you know, practice it or do it that often, but when I first noticed it, I really took that in. I would notice that Aaliyah would look a lot at trees, especially when the wind would move the leaves right outside of her bedroom window, or if we were driving, she would look always at the trees, and it really hit me one day that wow, we as just regular people, we are in such a fast pace, you know. Um, we go. It's just the way we are built. I don't want to say nowadays, you know. Um, it's just my opinion. Uh, I feel like I don't have enough hours in the day, so maybe somebody else, you know, can understand. But I took that 1 to 2 minutes and looked at what she was looking at, and she was just looking at the leaves, and they had changed the color, and it really looked so beautiful. And in those 2 minutes, I realized, like, wow, sometimes we need to stop and really just, you know, it doesn't have to be looking at leaves, but it definitely taught me that, you know, we all need to find our wait a minute, I need a moment, and be okay with it. I learned that from her because I was a machine. Go. What's the next thing? Still to this day, multitasker, procrastinator, and every day is never the same. I wish I could say it's the same. The routine for Aaliyah is the same, but there's no such things. Um, Something you're scheduled to do can change in that in the same second. But I would love to just invite everyone to come and join me. Let's share some stories. Let's learn things together. And I'm coming here with like trying to share autism awareness, but I just decided to call it a voice for the voiceless because, well, for Aaliyah, but also because we can just share things that we don't have to. There's no judgment here. I'm not here to, um, you know, bother anyone. I'm here for what I believe is something I could do to help by understanding or learning or maybe giving each other some different types of ideas or actual uh, things that you went through and learned. We didn't learn that there was some help until she was like 6 years old, besides the school when she was 3. And some parents, maybe now it's different, but at the time we really had our research um, what what we can do that were pretty much her rights. And if maybe somebody now is not aware, because when you first get the diagnosis, it is a shock. Maybe now it isn't. There's a lot more. When Aaliyah was diagnosed, it was 1 out of every 78 children. I believe the last time I checked was about 4 years ago, and it was one, I believe it was either 58 or 38. So I know that we have a big community that we could come together, and sky's the limit here. Let's use this channel to share, be kind to each other, be compassionate, just simply be open to share. It's not always gonna be like, oh, we had a great night. Aaliyah slept 4 hours. What? That would be a great thing. Let me change that. That would be amazing. But I feel like Aaliyah's like kind of like a newborn. Like every hour and a half, she's awake. But that's just I guess my normal. Uh, I thank you for your time. I am sorry I made it long. I wanted to give you a little bit about myself. And as we go, I promise to open up more. And I invite you to, come by, check it out. You know, let's talk anything. Pretty much anything. I mean, this is the conversation opener, right? Um, but it's a voice for the voiceless. So anything you wanted to voice that that is proper is welcome, and don't feel like there'll be any judgment for not from me. Not at all. I am really here welcoming everyone to take a moment and just see if anything I say kind of reminds you of something, or you would like to share how your child was diagnosed, or how your child changed your life, or sometimes we just need a little bit of support and say, yeah, you know what? I understand that it is difficult sometimes, and that's okay. That is okay. So thank you for your time. I can't wait to do the next one and tell you a little bit more about so many stories. But some are really cute, but I'm telling you, those two things that I shared about the patience, and that sometimes we just need I don't mean like a whole day of like that in our lives in this world of um family with disabilities is non-existing. Well, at least in my world, it's non-existing. But you can always, what I do is I try to take 2 days a month, like 2 hours, um, each each uh, each time, and either go do some errands or go do my nails. Just something to reboot. I would call it reboot. Just, of course, my phone will be ringing, and when they're doing my nails, for me, it's so frustrating because I'm like, I need to get the phone. I need to get the phone. But anyways, okay. Um, take care. Welcome to A Voice for the Voiceless, and I'll see you very soon. Take care of yourself.